What? Sorry, I can.
Did your internet go down, or were you that?
My
shocked?
internet. I was bloody hell. It was like a hot take. I was waiting for what happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
Peterborough 1-0 up against Bournemouth with in 35 minutes gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, do you know what? Sod it. We're going to win 4-0.
Yeah.
There you go.
Skipper Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
How's the bacon, did you say? Welcome to the warm-up episode 64. Joining me, your host, Brady Frost, is Tom Bradshaw and Francine Gorman. How are you both?
All right, thank you. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, good. Tom, that was very formal from you. Hello.
Don't want to mess this recording up, Brady. I feel like if I speak, I might even break it.
Yeah, Tom, I'm having internet issues, so Tom's also doing recording, and he's very nervous, which is I'm sure it'll make for entertaining stuff. But we'll get into it because obviously there was, the Forest Cup game, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But we're here to preview the West Brom game on Friday night. So let's just jump straight into it, really. So the Baggies have won just one match under Steve Bruce since he's been appointed. 6 games in charge, that is. And the win was at the weekend, 2-0 victory against Hull City, his former side. Played a 3-5-2 there with Carlin Grant and Callum Robinson up top. I'm sure Carlin Grant might get mentioned quite a bit in this podcast, but we'll see what happens. But interestingly, so at the time of the recording, West Brom were 13th in the table, but in the form table, the real quiz, as Brent would say, they're 22nd in the form table, only above Peterborough and Reading, winning just twice in the last 10 matches, which was Hull City and a 3-0 win against Peterborough. So, Tom, Town have finally lost a game for the first time since November. Is this a match they can bounce back in? And what is your reaction to the Forest game?
I think it is. I'm going to be positive tonight, Brady. I felt positive after Monday's night's game against Forest. I know he made a lot of changes, but I think you take out their 2 goals, and it wasn't a bad performance. The second goal is a mistake by Ruffles, isn't it? I mean, if he stays in the line, he's offside by a mile. The guy, I don't know why he gets dragged with him. And then the first one's a little bit, maybe a bit lazy in the middle, kind of no one closing down Garner. There was about 3 players just stood watching him. And then Naby Sarr's a bit unlucky that tackle falls straight to their guy and he slots it away. So I think on another night, Town win that game because the chances we had, the big chance was Sorba, Thomas's and Peepers won it. The one after the other hit the post, and then Sorba should maybe score. So I'm quite confident. I'm looking forward to Friday. I think we've got a really good chance. Like you said, their form's not great. And I think the players will want to come out and prove that they've still got it, and that Monday was a bit of a blip, really.
Yeah, it felt like that. I thought it was going to go our way, though, Tom, especially when they had a goal like that was, onside, ruled out for offside, and then we scored like pretty much minutes later. But it just wasn't meant to be. But Francine, it's your first time on the pod, so I'll ask you what I asked to all guests. What have you made of Huddersfield recently? Bar Monday, it's been pretty great, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think even like Tom was saying, I think even Monday were good. It were a good game to watch, wasn't it? But yeah, it's been brilliant being a Town fan for the last however many months, hasn't it? It's just been so exciting. And I think the last time I saw Tom was at the Fulham game. Did I see you there, or did I dream you there?
Reading probably.
Was it Reading? Yeah. But yeah, you're just absolutely flying at you, and you go down at half time and you see all your mates, and you're just like, everyone's got massive smiles on their faces. Everyone's got so many brilliant things to say. Obviously, you've got the whiners around as well that'll always have bad things to say. But I just feel like it's a really positive time to be a Town fan. I really, really enjoy how we're playing at the minute. We're just so confident. We've got such good ideas. There's so much movement. There's goals from absolutely everywhere across the pitch. Obviously we always want a few more goals, but yeah, I'm just really really enjoying it, really buzzing to get to all the away games, and yeah, loving it.
I think that's summed it up perfectly. I mean, if you're not going to enjoy a 18 game unbeaten run, when are you going to enjoy it? Just football isn't for you. But yeah, I suppose, yeah. Well, like I say, we're looking ahead to the game on Friday. It is a possibility to bounce back. I mean, we're still unbeaten in the league at the moment, so could carry that on. But Francine, who did you pick as a key player from West Brom? There's quite a few, despite the fact that they're playing quite poorly.
Yeah, there are. And it's, as you're sort of digging through some of the people, some of the players that they've got in that squad, there's such a depth of talent there that it's really mad to see how terribly they've been doing recently. And I've picked, like, it's a bit of an obvious one, but I just picked Livermore because he's just coming back from a mad amount of bans. Just like, I think he's just back after four games. Is it? Yeah. And then he had 3 games off not that long ago as well. So I just think he's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet at the minute. He's excited to be back and he's causing a lot of trouble, slicing up the midfield. So I think he's going to be a bit tricky for us. But then again, the rest of the team's been a bit shambolic of late. So you never know. If he's not got the people to be feeding things to, then maybe he's not going to cause us that much trouble. But yeah, he's a really established player, isn't he? He's got like a lot of confidence and a lot of strength across the pitch. He really influences other players as well. So, you know, I think players like that can cause trouble for Town.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will wait to see about Lewis O'Brien and his fitness. But I think Livermore will be saying hello to him in his own special way by fouling him at every opportunity. But yeah, no, really good shout, Francine. Tom, who did you go for? Have you gone for Carlin like me? You know, the tapping.
The cut inside merchant.
Yeah.
No, I haven't gone for Carlan. I have gone for well, like Francine just said, there is so much quality in that squad. When you look at the names, it is insane how bad they've been doing and how they've dropped so far off. But I've gone with Alex Mowat as he's a player that I've always liked, kind of annoyingly liked as well, especially when he was at Leeds. But I just think the game they won against Hull kind of showed what he's good at. His delivery for their first goal was perfect. It was one of those where Grant didn't even need to touch it. It had gone in anyway, kind of thing. And I just think he's one of those kind of luxury championship players you get. So he gets stuck in, but he can also create stuff. He's beautiful to watch on the ball, I think, and he can really whack one, can't he? So I think also, like, if we went up, I'd be looking to bring someone like him in, like maybe as a O'Brien replacement for when he inevitably gets pinched by PSG or someone like that.
Well, you know, he'll stay at Huddersfield Town for the rest of his life, Tommy. He'll never leave. So, you know, such foolishness. No, Mowat's a great player. I agree. I've always annoyingly liked him. Although, have you seen that clip of him where he's reviewing his own goal, like straight after? It's like a one he scored at Barnsley, and he's like, "What a great goal that is scored by me!" Like really arrogant. But yeah, maybe you need that, like you said, because he's got a bit of a needle in him, and we like, you know. Who doesn't like Francine touched on with Livermore? Who doesn't like a
exactly.
So, yeah. Well, as I alluded to earlier, I've gone for Carlan. He got 2 against Hull, and I just think, you know, it's a bit of an easy one picking a former player, but I think he will want to score against us because I was at the, you know, reverse fixture at the John Smiths. Thanks to the train being late, I missed the only bloody goal of the game, so I just watched like 85 minutes of defending instead. But yeah, I didn't think he had a good game then, to be honest. And, you know, I think some fans booed him, you know, which is, that's great, isn't it? When we got loads of money for him and you scored all those goals that kept us up, I would, you know, you've got to boo him, haven't you? So, yeah, which I didn't agree with. But I think, you know, that was just a small section, to be fair. But yeah, I just think if he did get, you know, you do hear the boos and he had a bit of a crap game against us. So I think he'll be motivated for this one. Because we've seen what he's like against former clubs when they give him a bit of stick. So Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, we'll see. Who did you guys pick as a key player for this one? Obviously, there's a couple. We'll probably come on to team selection, but Colwell and Karam have been ill as well, so we still don't know about them. And O'Brien obviously missed the Forest game with a knock. So yeah, but I suppose it depended. But Francine, who did you go for from Town?
Well, it would have been Lewis O'Brien had I not heard the news that he's not going to be back in time for Friday. So I've gone for Toffolo just because I really appreciated watching him on Monday. Like, we know Ruffles had some proper trouble, didn't he? And then as soon as you saw him lining up on the side, you were like, oh, thank God, here comes Toff. Everything's going to be fine. And I think a bit of a break will have done him good, but he's also one of those players that sort of sits on the sidelines and he's so furious that he's not on the pitch that we should get a pretty decent performance out of him on Friday. And I think this is the perfect kind of game for him, as it would have been for Lewis O'Brien as well. Like, just scrappy, get stuck in, battles all over the pitch. And yeah, I think Tufts will be. I think he'll be well up for it on Friday.
Yeah, I think really good pick. I don't know about you, Francine, but I felt quite sorry for Ruffles because I think he's been unlucky to not be in the side and he's played well when he's come in, but he had a bit of a shocker against Forest, didn't he?
He did. I think he just had one of them nights where everything was against him. He wasn't turning in the right directions. He was running out of time. He was just all these tiny little things that make up for a bit of a rubbish performance, really. But I rate him otherwise. You know, he's done some brilliant things so far this season. So hopefully it won't be too long before we get him back in the squad. You don't want to knock a player's confidence too much and, you know, feel like you're sidelining them because they're terrible or anything like that. But I don't know, I just feel like games like West Brom, we need to get the points at this time in the season. We need to be getting the points, so we just need to be going absolute full strength with the players that we know can put the shifts in.
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, it's good to have a player like Toff that you can come in, and Ruffles has given him great competition. So yeah, no, I think that's a really good pick. And yeah, hopefully Toff will do something great like he tends to do pretty much all the time. Tom, who did you pick for Town?
I have gone with someone who maybe at the start of the season I wasn't that excited about, or when he signed anyway. I've gone with Danny Ward because, like, bloody hell. I mean, when he came, I was probably a bit bemused, like, why have we signed Ward? I thought, like, oh, that's a Cowley signing. Do you know what I mean? As well, when we got him, and I was like, surely that's a signing that the Cowleys wanted, and Carlos has just somehow got him in. But I just think what a player he's turned out to be. Like, he's kind of like everything I thought he could be the first time we ever signed him. So I always thought he could turn into a player like that, but when he was younger, it was kind of just like foot like a traction engine or whatever you call. You know what I mean? He did it from 40 yards and it nestled in the bottom corner. And I just think he's matured so much. He's become such a smart footballer. Like, when he came on, it seemed to just cause a few more problems already. Aitin seemed to open up a bit more. Aitin played a few more forward-thinking passes through to Ward. Ward's touch is absolutely awesome. The amount of times he picks the ball up facing our goal and then just does like that little touch swizzle, and he takes a defender completely out of the game, and then we're off. And I just think, like, if he kind of has a good game and a goal in him on Friday, then we've won the game for me. Because I can't believe I'm saying, and I'll hold my hands up, I was well surprised that we signed him again, and I was a bit like, oh, is that a step in the right directions? But what a player he's been this season.
Yeah, and like you say, you touched on the little twists and turns. I remember the game against Fulham where, let's not talk about it too much, but the 5-1 defeat, that wasn't great, was there as well. Unfortunately, saw all the goals for that one rather than the train. But yeah, like when we were trying to play it to him, everything was just bouncing off him and it couldn't stick. And you were just thinking, but yeah, it's just transformed, doesn't it? It's been amazing, like you say, and so crucial to us. We've talked a lot about Rhodes and how he offers something different, to Ward, but like you say, Ward in terms of pressing and like you said, what he offers when we're trying to counter, and got to hold your hands up, and I don't know. I think you can say that with a lot of players, which probably leads me nice onto my little segue here for my key player. I'm going to go Ollie Turton for this one. Maybe it's because Francine's picked the fullbacks, and I think the fullbacks against Forest weren't great. Hopefully Ollie Turton will do a throw in that's actually behind the line. That would be good.
That was spectacular against Forest though, wasn't it? That Pippa one. I've just never seen anybody stray so far over the line. Like
I did see
unreal.
My favourite comment was I think it wasn't even a Town fan or just a randomer asked, "What is this guy doing?" And a Town fan's reply was, "He's from Barcelona." Because it was like no player from Barcelona has ever taken a long throw-in in their life before. Do you know what I mean? And I can't believe they left it to him. It looked like Carlos was trying to call someone else to come over and take it, and no one did. And I feel really sorry for him because he's looked so stupid there. I can't believe he stepped over the line, poor lad.
I think he was trending on Twitter, and not just Town Twitter, which probably says a lot. But like you say, from Barcelona, you're not like, right, lads, chuck it as far as you can in box. Anyway, Ollie Turton, I imagine, wouldn't do that. I agree with you, Tom. I feel a bit sorry for Pippa because we all make mistakes, but I think. Well, you guys have seen I've been having internet issues before we recorded. It went down while I was watching the game, finally got it back up, and it's like 94 minutes. And then that's the first thing I see. I was like, oh, for God's sake. Yeah, we're done here. But yeah, I picked Turton just because I never thought I'd say this. Listeners will know when we've had Josh on the pod how much Josh, he'll probably defend himself now, but he was not a big fan of Ollie Turton. I don't think you have to try too hard to read between the lines there, but his transformation, he is better than Pippa is at the moment, in terms of what he offers to the side. And I'll hold my hands up. You were saying, Tom, you'd hold your hands up about Wardy. Like, I never thought I'd be saying that. He's come on leaps and bounds, and I think he deserves credit. And I think he will start this one and come in, and he makes the side look better. I think he gives Thomas more room to do his thing as well. And I think that's going to be really key because I know West Brom are not playing well at the moment, but they do have players who can hurt us. And I think defensively we'll need him, but also what he can offer to, get our forward players firing as well. I think, really key. And he's ginger, and I'm ginger. You always got to look after your own. So there we go. But anyway, enough from me. It's time for View from the Other Side. So earlier I caught up with Matt from the West Brom fan podcast WBA Report, and here's what he had to say.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Hi Matt, thanks for joining me. So West Brom's season hasn't panned out as hoped, if you're a Baggies fan. How are you feeling ahead of the Huddersfield game?
Hi mate, yeah, you're right. The campaign hasn't really played out how any Albion fan would have wanted it to or would have hoped for it to do. And it's embarrassing at the moment. We're languishing in the bottom half of the Championship table. I really don't think it shows many signs of getting better, if I'm honest with you. Of course, Steve Bruce is now the man at the helm. He hasn't really made too big of an impact. He certainly hasn't got that bounce on which his appointment was based upon. He won one game, of course, last time out. We finally did win at Hull, but I'd probably put that down to Hull's ability rather than ours. Yeah, it's embarrassing being an Albion fan at the moment. There's a complete disconnect between the players and staff and the fans at the moment, and it's not just based on the fact that we're doing the worst. We've done in since the turn of the century. You really don't feel like those players are going out there and putting their all in for the shirt and really care as much as the fans do. And there's a massive disconnect, and I won't be surprised if this continues into future seasons to come, if I'm honest with you. But I'm not confident going to the game on Friday. I mean, Huddersfield, I'm going to look like a right idiot. I predicted them to be in around the bottom three at the start of the season, so you can laugh at my expense there. But yeah, the run you going on, as you guys know better than I do, is incredible, and I certainly didn't expect to see it again. I'll hold my hands up. I'm not going to take being proved wrong in the wrong way. I'm massively surprised, and I'm enjoying seeing it. If I'm honest, it's always great to see the underdog go and defy the odds, and I hope they can stay in the top two. What a story that would be! But yeah, I'm not confident. I mean, we did win last time, but you'd imagine Huddersfield on the run they're on should possibly the wrong word, but I believe they can leave the Hawthorns at least avoiding defeat.
And what have you made to Steve Bruce's reign as West Brom manager so far?
Yeah, touched upon it then. Steve Bruce's reign at the Hawthorns hasn't been an enjoyable one so far. He's overseen 5 games and lost to Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, Luton, Swansea City, drawing against Blackburn, and of course beating Hull last time out. But nonetheless, it hasn't been one which has filled me with faith and hasn't filled the Albion fans with too much faith either. I think Bruce himself has admitted that he tried to change too much too quickly. Of course, there's been certainly scars left from Valerian Ismail's tenure, but nonetheless, I think Bruce has made mistakes himself. He certainly hasn't delivered that bounce, which I mentioned his appointment was based upon. I think newly appointed CEO Ron Gourlay looked at Bruce's 4 promotions and thought, yeah, this will be the man to get a quick upturn in results, solidify our place in the playoffs, and we can push for promotion. I said 4 promotions, only second to Neil Warnock from that perspective, so why wouldn't you go for a candidate like that, I suppose? But yeah, I haven't been impressed by Bruce massively. I mean, equally the results, the issues at Albion go well beyond Steve Bruce's remit, well beyond the players' remit. Playing staff, management staff aren't at fault for, or aren't completely at fault for the issues, that disconnect that I mentioned. It's going to take a mammoth effort from not only the players and management, but from those at the top of the club, the decision makers, to really sort of strengthen the bond between the fans and their club once again. I mean, I can speak from my personal perspective. I've just been completely disillusioned with the results and really not sort of that fussed at the moment, because it's just not a nice time to support Albion. It goes beyond just we're struggling at the moment. There really are issues deep rooted into the club, and it's not nice at the moment at all.
And finally, where do you expect the game to be won or lost from a West Brom perspective?
I'm struggling really to pick out a facet of the game which Albion can use to their advantage and help themselves get the win on Friday. Maybe Carlin Grant can come back to haunt his former club. He scored 2 at the weekend, but I think his form has escalated as the season's gone on. So I'd really be looking at from a Huddersfield perspective and say, well, the game could depend on someone like Sorba Thomas. If Albion can stop his supply line to goal, of course he's contributed to goals from that left-hand side a number of times this season. It'll be important to stop if Albion can do so. They've got a much better chance of winning if they can do that. But I look at Huddersfield and perhaps an underrated and lesser mentioned aspect of the game is having goals in all areas, and Huddersfield are a lot stronger there than Albion are. So I'm looking, at set pieces, you've got the likes of Levi Colwill and Alex Lees can be dangerous. Goals from midfield in the form of Daniel Sinani. You've got Sorba Thomas out wide, Josh Koroma, and look up front. Danny Ward and Jordan Rhodes have been 2 clinical strikers we've seen down the years in the Championship, and then there's young Jonathan Russell as well, who's made a big impact from what I've seen. I've been really impressed in his performances recently, so I could definitely see more goals in the Huddersfield side. It's been a massive issue for Albion all season, but maybe Taylor Gardner-Hickman is an individual that Huddersfield should keep an eye on. Someone who came through the Albion Academy and is impressed whenever he's featured. Probably man of the match at Hull on Saturday. He was at Coventry too, so if he can get a game in the middle of the park, then Albion fans will at least be happy with that, and then there'll be a better atmosphere perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm really sort of grasping at straws here, but yeah, Taylor Gardner-Hickman could be someone Huddersfield should look out for.
Okay, so we've heard from Matt. Now, it used to be better back in the old days, guys, didn't it? Well, I don't know. Let's find out, because it's time for Return to the Mac.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. De Platter's got the better. Yes! And Laurent De Platter scored! What a goal, Aaron Mooy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia!
Return to
So, Francine, because you are because it's your first time on this, we will let you go first. You said you've got an interesting choice before we're recording, but a good reasoning behind it. So, the floor is yours.
I think I said I've got a potentially quite boring choice, but I've got reasoning behind it, and it's
Don't do yourself down. I was bigging you up there.
I'll just preface this by saying that Steve Bruce is probably my most hated manager in the Championship, basically for the sole reason that he sold Marcus Stewart.
Okay, fair enough.
Way back when, and I've never forgiven the man. Every time I see him on the telly, I'll turn it off because it's that bra still. So the person that I would like to bring back is Marcus Stewart. Put 10 past
nice.
him. Just to be able to see him playing back at our gaff again. Oh no, it's not, is it? It's away. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Ignore that bit. Just seeing him put 10 past him. I'd love that. Wouldn't it be brilliant?
Think he'd do the Clayton celebration like he did when Clayton scored against Leeds and he slid in front of his knees against Warnock because Warnock sold him. He'd do that to Brucey.
I reckon so, yeah. Either that or a little kiss on the cheek. One of the two.
Or you know what that Villa fan did to Steve Bruce when he was in charge and like throw a cabbage at him.
Cabbage, yeah.
Imagine if that was your celebration. You know, like when Balotelli took that selfie at the phone, he's got the cabbage ready. Some ball boys like. I like it. I think that's a really that's a great opener on your debut pod. That's going to be hard to beat.
Thank you. It's quite petty. It's a bit petty, but obviously, you know, Marcus Stewart would bring so much talent and quality to this game as well. Of course.
100%.
But yeah, it'd be that sweetness.
So I take it you're not a fan of Steve Bruce's, striker novels about, what was it? Is it a murder mystery about football? Have you guys seen those? They're like £400 on Amazon. Yeah.
I've not seen it.
I've kind of got that in my return to the Mac choice, Brady.
What, the book?
Yeah, that's what. I've put. What about the typewriter that he used in the 90s, and it could like preoccupy him before the game, maybe. Kind of get a prequel to those terrible books that he wrote. Because what was it like? One of the strikers was a murderer. One of the defenders was a murderer. There was one where it was like something to do with Israel and Yugoslavia, like problems, conflict. Weird.
That's the man I'd want to hear from that conflict, Steve Bruce.
But they are worth so much, those books now, aren't they? But it's really funny, isn't it? Like it was what they wrote them. Did he write them when he was at Town? Because all the cover images are photos either of him in his Town tracksuit or of our stadium. With the best one, I think it is the striker one, where it is the defender looks like he's been shot on the pitch whilst the fans are all there, which is like, what a hilarious cover for a book. But I haven't gone for his typewriter, Brady. I have actually gone for Gary Roberts as my return to the Mac.
That was a very long segue to go with Gary Roberts. I'd already to remember for the Twitter poll. I'd already put Steve Bruce's typewriter in. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you could do that as well. We've started just putting random ones in now, so I think put it in anyway.
I think the best thing as well is the Twitter polls. Like some people don't like just vote in it without listening to the pod and then listen to the pod after. So equally is great. Why have you? I mean, we probably know why you've gone for Gary Roberts, but why have you gone for him for this one?
Well, because he's awesome, isn't he? And I just think when I watched those highlights of West Brom's recent games, I thought they kind of struggled, especially Swansea. They seem to really struggle with balls into the box. And I think if you had Gary Roberts and Sorba Thomas on the same pitch, you'd be laughing all the way to the bank with 3 points there. He's got the skills on it. Him and Sorba were quite similar players, actually, when you think about it. Guy Roberts used to take on players out of nowhere, and then his corner delivery was awesome. So, yeah, both of those two on at the same time, I'd be worried.
Yeah, And especially when you've got Tom Lees and his ball magnet of a headband, that would be dangerous.
Yeah, is that what is in the headband? Some sort of ball magnet. It's quite a good invention from the Town backroom staff. That.
Yeah, you got to give credit where credit's due. I swear he's like, since he's got that headband, he's just got. Isn't it 3 goals?
Mate, he's free and free with a headband, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't Peterborough where he got it. Was it the game before?
It was Cardiff, wasn't it? It was Hugel with his elbows.
Yeah. So that is right. Is that right?
I think that's
or
right.
Maybe 3 and 4. It's still for a centre back. He might have caught up with Matty Pearson by now. Matty Pearson needs to score. True. He hasn't scored for a while, has he? Sorry,
he's rubbish, Tom. I haven't scored for ages.
Go on, Brady. Brady, what's your return to the Mac?
Oh, thank you, Tom. It's funny you should ask that. I think I did this when we played West Brom last time. As listeners will know, it gets hard to do these. And as Stephen Chicken rightly pointed out, this was a good section to do when we were shit and losing every week. But you don't really need to do it as much now. I've gone Carlin Grant, so he can't play for them. Again, it's another tactical one. And also he's great. And I think that left side of the front three we play, I think that's the only one that's maybe got a bit of a question mark because you can play Sinani there, Holmes has played there, Cromer can play there, but it's not, I don't know, it's not as nailed down as like, your striker or, Sorba playing on the wing or, O'Brien or Hogg. So yeah, I've gone for Carlin. I always really liked him and, it was particularly when we were doing quite crap.
Yeah.
2 million and like you said, that Premier League season, he seemed to be up for it. And, I think we talked about in one of our hot takes earlier, on an earlier pod, Tom, but I think that's another one where you got to give Phil credit, stuck to his price tag. And Carlin hasn't had a great time since he's moved to West Brom. So I think, the longer that drags on, the better money, better that deal looks for us. So yeah,
it's good pick, Brady. I have got. I think we kind of need to nail down the rules of return to the Mac though. So like, if you pick Carlin Grant, he just automatically comes to Town, or do you have 2 Carlin Grants on the pitch at the same time? Huddersfield Town Carlin Grant versus West Brom Carlin Grant. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, okay. But let's rather than go through the rest of the pod, let's spend the next 20 minutes discussing the rules now.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's the case, I think we're still doing better there because Carlin Grant, what was it, 19 goals?
Yeah,
19 goal Carlin Grant in that season, which is the one I'd bring him back. Not one, where he was like barely involved. Yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be awkward when Marcus Stewart, Gary Roberts, and Carlin Grant lose to Steve Bruce's typewriter.
Yeah,
but,
isn't it?
Yeah. There we go. That's quite a good poll, though, to be fair. So I think that'll be a tight one. So we will see. But we'll move on because it's time for You're the Boss. So, Francine, the question I ask to everyone when it's their debut, listeners are probably sick of it now. You're in charge. Carlos isn't in the dugout for this one. What is your managerial attire for this one? I think that says a lot about your management style. So what are you going for?
I'm going to go full Beyonce. What's that?
Full Beyonce?
What's that video? Formation, where she wears this like black hat that goes over her eyes and sunglasses and like a really stark black dress, and she looks so intimidating, and I'd just have that, and then I just wouldn't speak to anyone. I'd just stand arms folded the entire time.
I'm just going to say, would you shake the opposition's manager's? Well, you wouldn't shake Steve Bruce's hand. We know
absolutely not. I wouldn't even acknowledge him walking past.
That'd be awesome.
That is great. I think that's the best answer we've ever got, to be fair, to that question. So rather than like when we talked about it before, Tom, and I was like, I think I'd probably wear a tracksuit.
Yeah.
Well, it's either that or a tracksuit.
Yeah, okay.
Tracksuit underneath.
Underneath, yeah.
Just in case. I was like Chris Powell on it. You'd be wear the dress at home, but then tracksuit away.
That's the one, yeah.
Is it still the formation outfit for the for like a if Town got to a final, like playoff final, would you still have that, or would you change it up?
No, I'd probably stick with it, because if we'd managed to get to a final, I'd be quite superstitious at that point, and I'd base most of that on the outfit choice. So yeah, I'd stick with it, I think. But I might, if we win, I might take that off and do a smile.
Okay, just one smile.
Just one smile.
Yeah, you've had your lot. I like,
and that'd be.
I like that.
The all black would then be in honor of David Wagner's double black suit from Wembley.
Yeah,
nice.
Paying tribute then.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say in tribute to David, because he's been sacked today, hasn't he?
Well.
Yeah, poor David. I mean, interesting though, he was rumoured to take the West Brom job, wasn't he? At the start of the season. So
yeah.
Mm.
I don't want him to come back to England yet. I couldn't handle that. Give him another nice job in Switzerland or Germany, please, before he comes back here.
Yeah. Where will David? I don't know. That's another pod. But yeah, I like how we're talking. Yeah, anyway, we'll move on. Francine, you've nailed your outfit, but how would you line? I can never say that. What would be your starting 11 for Town in this game? God, I
wouldn't stray too far from what we've been doing at all. I think I'd definitely be starting Ward for all of the reasons that we were saying earlier. I just think he's turned out to be such a solid proposition. Like I remember at the start of the season he was quite injury prone as well, or when we first got him back. And I was exactly like you were saying earlier, Tom. I was in the real like what have we done kind of camp. And now he's solid as a rock. Like you just trust him with anything. And he's he's another really characterful player for the rest of the players on the squad as well. They look to him, they know where he's going to be, they trust him. So he'd definitely be leading up front. And then I've got it written down here, but I honestly wouldn't change that much from what we've been doing. I think I'd bring on, depending on how things go, if we feel like we've got a bit of space to get a bit creative and switch up the midfield a bit, then I'd use him as a bit of a sort of creative sub 60 minutes in. But I don't really enjoy him for the full 90 minutes at the moment. I don't think he's got enough kind of, not awareness, but I just don't think he's what we need at the minute in the midfield. So, and then, I mean, if I could, I'd just put Tom Lees in every other position with his magic bandage. He's doing so well. And I've not mentioned Saba yet today, but he's just been so phenomenal. Like basically every minute bar maybe 2 that he's played, he's just been the fastest, most passionate player that we've seen for a long time, I think. So yeah, massive props to him. And then Sanani I've got in here as well, or Tsunami, as someone has referred to him the other day. Janelle Tsunami. He has his moments, but again, I don't think I'd be starting him at the minute. I just feel like this is such an important game for us to be bagging points, so I'd leave him out for a while, I think.
Yeah. Would you bring Russell back in then?
Yeah, big fan of Russell. I think if he was a little bit quicker, he would be absolutely perfect. I don't know how much we can do to change that, because he is a big lad. He's got a lot to carry as he's moving forward, but and that's not body shaming him in any way. That's a very
God, I was going to say I'm having 5-a-side flashbacks.
But he just needs a little bit more pace about him, and he'd be absolutely spot on. But I think some of his his awareness is good, his forward balls are good. He's a young player still, so he's got a lot ahead of him. But yeah, big fan. Would include.
Great. And as Matt discovered the other day, his girlfriend's got like a YouTube makeup show that he occasionally features on. So there you go.
Amazing.
Fans are weird, aren't they? Tom, are you making any changes? I assume you're going to go back to the full strength team. You're not going to keep the same team against Forest.
Yeah, so not the team against Forest. So basically, the Fulham lineup again.
Right. Okay.
So Nichols, Turton, Pearson, Lees, Toff, Russell, Hogg, O'Brien, and then Thomas, Ward, and Holmes. I mean, Holmes was a bit like, oh, maybe not, but I just think I thought about swapping Holmes, but I thought he came off and he looked really frustrated with himself on Monday, and I just think he's the kind of player that kind of comes back and has that desire to maybe put in a better shift than he did. I don't think he played bad on Monday, but I just think he just couldn't find that rhythm that he did the first time we played him. And I think he struggled a bit. But I've got a bit of a question mark next to Tino. I mean, he's come on twice now, and I think he's looked a bit slow, a bit off it. And I don't know whether that's down to, because obviously he hasn't played for a while and you've got to settle in and stuff, but maybe he does need just throwing in the deep end and starting a game. Like we've mentioned about Scott High, he always plays better when he starts than when he comes on. Maybe Tino's kind of similar. But is it the right game to do that in? Like we said, we need the points. Do you risk kind of putting someone in? But by all accounts, he's one of Chelsea's brightest prospects. So do you give him that opportunity against West Brom? Maybe, yeah. So keeping that back four, it was Ruffles and Pippa didn't defend well on Monday night for me. Pippa's interesting because I don't think he can particularly, don't know if he can defend that well, but I think he's really good going forward because he's not scared to try and take anyone on. Do you know what I mean? And I just think, can't you play him in a different position? Does he have to be a fullback? Can't you push him up a bit? Maybe he comes on in the last 15 minutes up front, not up front, but in more of an attacking position. So, I'm going with that Fulham lineup anyway, Brady, I think, for this one.
Yeah, I liked your long rationale for that as well, Tom.
I'm talking a lot today.
No, it's good, mate. It's good, mate. It's what we like to see.
I actually did some prep, that's why.
Well, long may it continue, mate. But I think that was good reasoning. I've gone exactly the same as you. I think that's our best team, to be honest, at the moment. Tino's an interesting one, like you were touching on there. It's tricky because we're playing a lot of the big sides coming up, actually, the teams in and around us. So, I don't know when he would start, but like you say, he'll have, the reason we've got him, and it is seen as a bit of a coup, is for him to start. So he's going to have to start at some point. So, I don't know. So I've gone the same, but we'll see how it plays out. But before we move on to hot takes, Francine, I'll come to you. How do you see this one going, apart from Steve Bruce, being terrible and you ignoring him whenever he gets flashed on the screen?
I'm going to say I'm going to go 2-0 Town. And I think Ward's going to get them both. And I think it'll be, I was going to say quite comfortable. I don't think it's going to be comfortable, but I think we are going to be coming off the back of a bit of an annoying loss. And we've been very good recently. It's a new era of Huddersfield Town. And I think taking that mentality that we've got to the Hawthorns, I think we'll do all right.
Yeah.
2-0.
Yeah. I hope. Yeah, I hope that would be great. I'd take a 2-0 right now. It'll be really interesting to see how they react. I think because like you said, they haven't lost in so long. So I hope you're right. Tom, are you also going for a Town win?
I am going for a Town win, Brady.
Good, mate.
I know what's going on.
What has changed? It only took 18 games for Tom to suddenly be positive.
Yeah, when we lose. I'm start being positive. That's hilarious, that, isn't it? Because I bet if you go back, most of the draw, or I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's funny, that, isn't it? Idiot. My only thing is, like, because I'm a bit superstitious, it's like, oh, Steve Bruce just beat a former club last week. Is he going to do it again this week? That kind of thing. But I fancy a 2-1 win for Town. I just think their highlights. I mean, they only had 7 shots against Hull, 5 on target, not bad. 1 was a penalty. That Mowat delivery basically got them the second, and then against Swansea they hit the post twice. So I guess it's kind of are they going to be clinical enough? But I feel like our defence can handle it from what I saw. So I've gone 2-1. I think they'll get a goal, but 2-1 Holmes and Ward.
Nice. Maybe it's the loss, but I don't think we're going to lose this one. But I think it might be a bit of a frustrating draw. I just think it's Friday night, it's away from home, and I just think Bruce got a win against his old side that you touched on there, Tom. I don't know. I just feel like it'll be really interesting to see how they bounce back in this one. And like you say, plenty of non-Town fans have written this team off and think they're going to fall away. But I think we are really hard to beat. I think that, it's a bit of an obvious thing to say when you've not lost 18 games until Monday. But I agree with you completely. I think we are a lot better defensively when we're playing our first team. But I don't know. I am a little bit worried about us in an attacking sense, because I think although we're great going forward, I think if Ward, I know we're sharing the goals around, but I don't think we've been scoring loads. I know we won 3-0 at Peterborough, but I was at that game and they're the worst team we've played this season by an absolute mile. They were terrible.
Well, Brady,
Yeah.
I know it's not a live update because we're not live, but Peterborough are beating Bournemouth 1-0 right now.
Oh, I'll take that. Wow.
Sorry, I can.
Did your internet go down, or were you that?
My
shocked?
internet, I was bloody hell. It was like a hot take. I was waiting for what happened. Yeah. Sorry, say that again.
Peterborough 1-0 up against Bournemouth with in 35 minutes gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, do you know what? Sod it. We're going to win 4-0.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, that's the enthusiasm we need. Cut to when this pod goes out and they've turned it round and somehow inexplicably won. But yeah,
probably finished 4-1 to Bournemouth, didn't it? But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. But I like it. Okay. All right. Well, we've made our predictions. And I think you need to run some cold water under that, mate, because it's time for hot takes.
Big bleep hot, mate. Big bleep hot, mate.
Yes, this is Hot Takes, the part where you share your spicy opinions you have about Huddersfield Town with your reason why, and we will debate it on this pod. Hot Takes will be anonymous. Don't forget to email brady@takesthatchance.com for a chance to be featured. So, guys, this hot take got through the firewall. And it starts like this. People tend to be doing it in all caps to start off with. I think it's for emphasis. So I'll read it word for word.
Okay.
My hot take is ... If the categories for Huddersfield Town top trumps were speed, passing, shooting, aggression, and fitness, I believe Lewis O'Brien would outscore Aaron Mooy in every single category. Okay, so that was. Sorry, this feels like a quiz question. So just to repeat, speed, passing, shooting, aggression, and fitness. O'Brien's better is basically what the hot take's saying. Tom, you're doing the classic thing you can do with a beard, which is always great, which is stroke it to feel like you're contemplating.
I was also counting what he said. So speed, passing, aggression, speed, passing, aggression, shooting and fitness. So speed, yes.
Yeah.
Passing, no for me.
Yeah, I'd say no.
Aggression, yes. Although Mooy did have a nice little bit of a oof in him now and again. But
He did, yeah.
What defines aggression though? Because I think O'Brien's just naturally that's how he plays football. Whereas I don't think O'Brien is an aggressive person, if that makes sense. Whereas Mooy would switch and turn really aggressive all of a sudden, if that also makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then shooting, that's an interesting one. I feel like Aaron Mooy was a better finisher. I feel like Aaron Mooy could put a ball in the bottom corner with his eyes shut. Do you know what I mean? Whereas O'Brien will lace it and not he's hit and hoping it. Look, Lewis O'Brien, I absolutely love Lewis O'Brien, but this is a hot take. Come on, we've got to be serious here now. And then what were the other two?
So what we say, speed. I think you're right. I think O'Brien's quicker.
Yeah.
Passing, I think. Yeah. I think you're right. I think Mooy was probably better, but Lewis isn't bad.
No,
Fitness, I think Lewis is fit. Mooy was.
Yeah. And I don't know whether Mooy was one of those players who looked like he was unfit because of just the way he'd run around. There's a really good impression for the listeners that I'm doing.
For the listeners, he was shaking his shoulders from side to side in a jovial way, I would say.
It's a good hot take, this. Francine, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you've said. I think passing, I'd definitely give that to Aaron Mooy. Like, he was so precise, still is. You know, he's like a proper pinpoint passer. So I'd give that to him because Lewis has got a few stray balls on the go, hasn't he? And then, to be completely honest, I'm just struggling to remember all of the categories.
So speed,
you said them
passing.
like 10 times.
It's all right. I keep forgetting. I've got it right on my notes, and I keep forgetting. Speed, passing, shooting, aggression, and fitness.
Yeah, fitness. I think fitness is a funny one, isn't it? Because I think Aaron Mooy sneakily was in very, very good shape, and you can always tell by players that play in his position and don't pick up that many injuries that they're actually very, very well trained specimens. So I reckon 2 different kinds of fitness. One's yoga, one's boxing.
Yeah. I think that's
That's good.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to sum it up. Yeah, I think Lewis is quicker. Lewis is I didn't quite realise how quick he is because he's, like we've said before, Tom, it seems like he's almost like running in a straight line, but like they can't get past him. But the one that got me was I can't remember the player against Peterborough, but he was quite quick on the counter, and Lewis gets the ball and like just runs past him, and the guy's like sprinting and he can't keep up.
Yeah,
and
might have even been the guy who did his knee in. It was because it was quite a. Did he bring him down? Was it like towards the Lawrence Batley side on the touchline? I think I know exactly which bit you mean, Brady. Yeah, he picks it up and he just glides past him like he's probably their quickest player on the night.
Yeah. I've got to be honest, Tom, I'd nip to get a pint at this point.
Did you miss one of the goals again?
No. I mean, I saw all the goals. In fact, Dan, who you've met, Tom, turned to me and said, "Stick a fork in them, they're done after 10 minutes," which is I quite enjoyed as a phrase.
Yeah.
Anyway, speed. I think O'Brien wins. Passing, I agree. Mooy wins that one. So hang on. So we've got 1v1. Shooting, Mooy was better. Just some of the finishes. That goal against Leeds. I know O'Brien scored that one against Barnsley where he smashed it, but that was an angry goal.
That was an angry goal.
goal.
And the goal, Mooy's goal against Newcastle, first home Prem game.
Yeah.
What a finish!
Yeah. What a setup as well, because it's a 1-2, isn't it? Yeah.
Chunga, wasn't it? Set him up.
Yeah. I am.
So right, we're on 2-1 to Mooy right now.
Aggression. I think I agree with you. Mooy had a little bit of needle in him, and he was quite like he'd make I wouldn't say he'd like make a tackle where he'd like get the man as well, but like he'd commit, which is kind of what I think another reason Town fans loved him, because he'd like get stuck in. Lewis, I think Lewis Lewis will be up for a scrap. I think like he's one of them, isn't he? Like he'll get himself up. But I don't know.
I think I'd probably give it Lewis.
You think? Do you agree, Francine?
Yeah, I do.
Lewis for aggression?
Yeah. I'm thinking of aggression in the kind of like reactions to something happening, and I think that you'll catch a lot more
The
Lewis in that moment.
definition for aggressive: ready or likely to attack or confront, characterized by resulting from aggression. I mean.
And is there a picture of Lewis O'Brien next to it?
Just foaming at the mouth.
So yeah, probably Lewis.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lewis wins aggression. Okay, so that's 2-2, and then fitness. We all agreed that Lewis is fit. So
we were all agreeing with a hot take, even though at the start we were all a bit like.
Okay, I always like to have my own question based on what we said. If you could only have one in this team, so this current team, Lewis or Mooy, so you can't have both, because can you imagine if we had both? Absolutely, we would be automatics, mate.
We're top at league.
Yeah. It doesn't care if Mitro scores like 5 goals every game, just that midfield. But yeah, would you rather have Mooy or Lewis? I mean, Mooy for me, like one of the best players I've ever seen at Town, but yeah, I think that's a bit of an interesting one. Anyway, I'll let you answer. Francine, you were mulling that over. What do you think?
That's a really hard question. I'd always want Mooy back, but not necessarily at the expense of Lewis. But I don't know. He's just got such a cross on him, hasn't he? And like his delivery is so brilliant, and I think him behind Ward and Rhodes now would just be a beautiful thing to see. It really would. But then in the Championship, where we are at the minute, you kind of need the physicality that O'Brien brings to things, and that scrap that we've just been chatting about, and that's not necessarily what you get out of Mooy. So I'll say Mooy just to give you an answer. But I like them both.
Yeah, no,
happy with both of them. But yeah, I've seen Lewis, so let's go for Mooy.
Yeah, okay. I'll twist that and just say you hate Lewis O'Brien and you'd rather have Mooy. So I can't believe you said that, Francine. No, that's Tom. Are you picking Mooy? I think. Do you know what? I think it's a tough one. I do think it's
really difficult.
Yeah,
it's really difficult because I think you've also got to think how old Lewis is now, and kind of Aaron Mooy wasn't. I'm not saying Aaron Mooy was bad when he was Lewis's age, but I think he might have been at St Mirren when he was about 23, 24, and he kind of only really started picking it up a notch like later on. Honestly, I think Lewis O'Brien will be a better player than Aaron Mooy. I don't think it'll be in a Town shirt though, unfortunately. He'll go on to be awesome. So I wouldn't be sacrificing Lewis O'Brien right now for Aaron Mooy, unfortunately. Matt will probably kill me for that, won't he? I think.
Oh, Matt will be fuming. Me and Matt have said on like this pod many times, like, you know, I know he's on the big China money, but I think Matt would be happy to kidnap him and force him to sign a contract to come back to Town.
I got almost like some hate mail from Matt at like 1 o'clock in the morning for not defending Schindler's Honor enough the other week.
Did he message you? He messaged me like, I'm so glad you got the stats in on Schindler because I was fuming. I can't believe he messaged you. Brilliant. He'll listen to this as well, so I know. I'll get his response. Wow. Yeah, I mean, come on. You were agreeing with Schindler being bang average at first, mate, so you deserved it. Yeah, I don't know. I asked the question of... I agree, though, Tom. I think O'Brien probably will be a better player than Mooy. I don't want to be that guy that's like hot takes for the sake of hot takes, but if Calvin Phillips can play for England, I think Lewis O'Brien could play for England. Like, you know,
that is a hot take.
No, but like, I just think, I know it's awful and I know he's linked with Leeds, but I genuinely did think like Lewis under, you know, the man, according to Leeds fans, who's reinvented football. Football didn't exist. But I thought, you know, I did a bit of a Lampard then again. So,
no, but seriously.
Little joke. No, but serious point. I think I would have loved to see it. It would have been awful because it would have been for Leeds. But I think Corberan's a great coach. But also to see O'Brien like in the Premier League under Bielsa, I think if Phillips can get in the England team under Bielsa, I think Lewis could, because he's just, I think he could be an England player, like 100%. Like he's improved so much this season. He's like one of the most fouled players in the Championship. He's also one of the players who made one of the most tackles, and I just think those players, not by us, but like they tend to get quite overlooked, like from fans. But I think when you look at you'd like to think as well, scouts, they'll pick that stuff up. And I think you don't really get, I mean, I know you've got Declan Rice, people like that, but there's not really good players like that. And I just think he's, like you say, speed when he's gliding through players. Yeah, so yeah, I think Lewis O'Brien could play for England. I've stalled on my question for long enough. I've got to back my gingers. I'm going to go Lewis. I think Mooy.
Use that one again, Brady.
Yeah, well, mate, we're a dying breed, aren't we? So we've got to look after each other.
Well, that was a good hot take. I like that one.
That was a good hot take. Much better than when you said last week, like, do we get good hot takes? When the fact that we've done 6, 7 and you've played each time. But yeah, I think we'll call it there because that could be. That'll be next week's pod, Tom, where I talk about Lewis O'Brien for England. But we'll call it there. Thanks to Tom and Francine for coming on, and thank you to everyone for listening, and thanks to Magic Rock who sponsored this podcast as always. We will be back to preview the Millwall game, so ta-ta for now and up the town.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.